Welcome to the LEXR video series where we demystify the seemingly complex legal matters for you. My name is Christian Meisser and it is my pleasure to welcome Michele Vitali in the studio today.
Thank you, Christian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Michele is our head of VC and financing, and we're going to talk about the term sheet in financing rounds. Michele, what is a term sheet?
The term sheet is usually one of the first documents that is exchanged between the founders or the company and the investors. It gives you the legal framework, or in general the framework of the potential investment by the investor into your company.
And careful, even though term sheets are usually non-binding, it is very difficult to negotiate away the terms you've agreed on. So make sure you understand everything before signing. Today, we're going to look at the financial terms and what are the key financial terms in a term sheet.
So there is the investment amount, obviously, and the valuation of the company, where we have to say that determining a valuation for early stage startups is notoriously difficult. There is the liquidation preference and there is the anti-dilution protection.
Let's dive right into it. When it comes to valuation and investment amount, one term we often hear is pre-money valuation or also the post-money valuation. What is behind these terms?
So the pre-money valuation is simply the value of your company before the investor has put in any money. And then the post-money valuation is the pre-money valuation plus the investment amount.
Okay, so I always get confused with these things. To make a concrete example, if I invest 1 million Swiss francs into your legal tech startup at, let's say, a valuation of 4 million, how many % do I get?
So first of all, I would be very gracious that you invest 1 million Swiss francs in my company. With a 4 million pre-money valuation, the post-money valuation would be 5 million. So dividing your investment of 1 million by the post-money valuation would give you 20%. However, if we are not clear whether or not we mean the pre or post-money valuation, and you actually meant a post-money valuation of 4 million, then you would receive 25%.
Okay, so I think we agree on 4 million post-money. If I'm in the investor, I get 25%. That's already 5% that I get for free just by changing the word pre to post. Another big difference can be in the liquidation preference. What is behind that term?
So the liquidation preference on the one side protects the investment of the investor. So if you negotiate a liquidation preference for your 1 million investment, this million is protected, but to the detriment, of course, of myself, of the founder. So if the company is sold at the lower valuation and it's not the unicorn case, so let's make an example, we sell the company for 2 million Swiss francs with a liquidation preference 1x, you would receive your million back first, and only after that I would be able to get any profit.
And of course, as the investor, I don't want to hear that the founder says that he's going to sell at a lower valuation, but this can of course happen. And another thing there is the difference between participating and non-participating. What is behind that?
So if you not only get the liquidation preference but also participating liquidation preference, you're also able to participate, as the word says, in the remaining proceeds after you have received back your 1 million investment.
So for me as the investor, I would want to have a liquidation preference, and ideally I would want to have it as a participating liquidation preference. So if the dream of the founder of having a unicorn or an IPO doesn't come true, I still get my money back. Yes. Another big topic is the anti-dilution provision in a term sheet. What exactly is the anti-dilution?
So the anti-dilution provision is a very complex clause in itself. It's very mathematical, and what it does is that it protects the investor in case of a future down round. So every new financing round will inevitably lead to a dilution of the non-participating investors. However, if the investment is at the lower valuation at which you invested, let's say, then you would get over proportionally diluted. To the detriment, of course, always if you have an anti-dilution protection, it will lead to a significant dilution or an over-proportionate dilution of the founders.
And I heard that the full-ratchet anti-dilution provision is the best for me as an investor, but what are the different methods here and what is the difference?
So yes, as you said, full-ratchet is the extreme scenario, and we very rarely see that nowadays. This was more a thing of the old days, if you will. Today, we usually see either broad-based or narrow-based weighted average anti-dilution protections. So these also take into account how many shares were actually issued in the new lower financing round. Whereas with a full-ratchet anti-dilution protection, you would simply receive free shares as if you would have invested at that lower valuation as well.
Okay, so to sum up, I will invest 1 million at the post-money valuation of 4 million with the participating liquidation preference and the full-ratchet anti-dilution. And for me as an investor, that would be, of course, an ideal outcome. If you're, however, on the founder side, you would want to have 1 million investment at the 4 million pre-money valuation. You want to have a non-participating liquidation preference or no participation at all, no liquidation preference at all. And lastly, if there's an anti-dilution, make sure it's based on a weighted average and not a full ratchet.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Usually, as you said, I mean, there are even scenarios in which investors negotiate a 2x liquidation preference, which means they receive twice their investment back before the founders even receive 1 Swiss francs from the proceeds.
Michele, I've learned a lot. This was really insightful. Thank you very much. And if you've also enjoyed this video, please subscribe below.
Yeah, and hit the like button. If you want to find out more about financing rounds or generally legal topics that are interesting for founders, feel free to check out our website. And if you want to get in touch with me, just book a free non-binding consultation call via my Calendly link.